JKB back with another episode. Today I'm reviewing Resident Evil 7 on the show. Thank you so much to ANC Games here in Toronto for supplying the review copy. Let me give you a backstory of Resident Evil. I used to play Resident Evil 2 with my friend Mickey on his couch, and we used to eat this like Wonder Bread and shit cheese and melt it in the microwave and put ketchup on it, and we'd just fucking be eating these things we called large sandwiches and just playing Resident Evil 2 day and night until we beat it inside out, and then hopped onto the second disc. It was 2 discs, 2 characters. It was madness. It was insanity. Resident Evil 3 came out. It was just the same as 2, kind of. It was in the city. It was cool. Then Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube came out. Talk about a fucking system seller. Of course, we all know what happened next. We got shit. You get 7. You look at it and you go, okay, we're going to first-person mode here. We get it. The perspective of first-person with guns in Resident Evil reminds me of a game called Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii, which is okay. It's an on-the-rails shooter, but it also reminds me of that. I don't remember, like Raccoon City Stories or some shit for PS3. Horrible first-person, I don't even know what it was. It was so forgettable. So when I found out they're going from, third person to first person, I thought, okay, PT demo. This is a clear ripoff of PT. Like Silent Hills was supposed to come out and be a first person shooter. Well, now we got Resident Evil. Same perspective as that demo. We all know the demo PT. It was spectacular. It was amazing. We all loved it. So did Capcom just go and jack that demo and say, turn that into a full game? Some people can just say yes, simply put, they did do that. However, I'm the type of guy that likes to look past that, look at the art, look at the design, look at the essence of what they have created, the tone. Is it Resident Evil? Does it feel like the past? Does it feel like something new? Is it fresh? Tell you right now, absolutely. Resident Evil 7 is one of the best Resident Evil games ever made. If you've been on the fence thinking, I'm not going to go get this game, I don't like first person mode, you're going to miss out on it, and that's unfortunate. This is a must-own, must-play, definitely going on my 2017 Game of the Year list. Fucking incredible. Amazing story, amazing characters that come to life in ways you've never seen in first-person games. And I'm talking about the elements of the gore, the elements of, obviously, surprise, the elements of Resident Evil coming in there and really wrapping this thing together in something that I can say is unique. It's not extremely pushing the boundaries of things you haven't seen before, but in terms of the series, it's very unique to the series. Now, of course, I'm playing it on Xbox One, and I know PlayStation VR, as I have fucking choked to death, PlayStation VR is supported, and I did talk to some of my friends just to let you guys know it's not my personal opinion, but they said that it's shaky cam and you can get sick, so I'm not really covering the VR aspect. I played the kitchen demo, which is essentially a little bit of Resident Evil VR 7 in VR, and that was spectacular, but that wasn't with movement, so I'm not able to talk about that. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm not spoiling anything in this, so this review is going to be a little weird. All I'm going to really talk about is, yes, the elements of Resident Evil. I'm talking about Part 1, Part 2, the mansions, Resident Evil 0, the vibe of going around a map and backtracking, collecting items, figuring puzzles out, having not enough ammo, being super difficult. But then, on top of it, introducing elements that you haven't seen in Resident Evil, such as, I don't want to give anything away, guys. I mean, like, I'm talking about just the most amazing graphics I've seen in a survival horror game or even a first-person shooter I've ever seen. I mean, like, it's really something to look at. When you're playing it on a big TV at night with the sound blasted and the lights are dimmed, this is it. Now, in terms of the story, I'm not going to spoil a goddamn single thing. I'm going to tell you this much, which is, like, not even a spoiler. You can tell that, obviously, it takes place in a mansion. So you are in somewhere in the woods, in a mansion. It feels like Resident Evil 1. It does end up feeling a little bit like later into the series, like it really goes places. You're not just stuck in this one mansion in the basement. However, it does start like that. The enemies, I gotta talk about that. Terrifying. I mean, just absolutely terrifying. Jumping out at the right moments, not jumping out at moments you expect them to jump out. Some classic, recalls from Resident Evil 2, especially Resident Evil 1. Actually, it was part 2 where the licker would jump out of the ceiling in front of you. I'm not going to say where. Maybe this is a tiny spoiler, but that happens in this game. It's kind of a funny, kind of kickback to that. So, in saying all of this, I'm going to go over the positive and the negative. The negative aspect here has to be that for some odd reason, the first person really works. The characters that are on screen that come at you and the ones you interact with really work. The voice acting is like cheese whiz. It's so bad it's good at times, and I really do believe that it's supposed to be really, really bad on purpose. But as you start to play it, you get used to it, and you start to realize, no, wait a minute, it's actually not that bad. And then at the end, you're blown away. You're blown away. These characters are spot on. They're not... it's not like you're going to turn this off and completely forget about it. You're going to be thinking about the story. One of the negative aspects, though, negatives here, because I want to go over the negatives and then the positives. The negatives, just simply put, it feels a little linear. I mean, once you get out of one zone, you go into another. You do backtrack quite a bit. However, enemies don't respawn. And I know I talked to some of my friends about this, a lot of the Resident Evil games, the enemies don't respawn until you push the story or the plot forward. So in this game, you will be going to a lot of empty rooms. However, there's a lot of items, and this is one of the positives. I'm done with the negatives, to be honest. I mean, there's not much music. It's not as creepy as, say, the Resident Evil remake that was also on GameCube, when the Crimson zombies came out in that, and it was like, and you were just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Those moments with the zombies in this, or the enemies, whatever you want to call them, aren't as, they're not, the intensity isn't as high, so maybe that is a negative, just a little bit. I gotta admit, I just gotta be honest with you guys, it's not as scary, and I think, to be honest, because I'm older, and I expect half these jump scares to happen. So, positives and then my score. I don't want to go on too long about this. I'm going to say that if you're a fan of Resident Evil and you've given up hope, you thought they were going downhill, this is a must fucking play. 2017 Game of the Year material right here in my hand. Unfucking believable. What's positive about this game? I've never, Resident Evil working in first person, they nailed it down completely. The characters are very, very, very nailed down, enjoyable. The boss battles, I should say, the puzzles, fucking awesome, just awesome. There's everything you know and love from Resident Evil is here. The inventory management, obviously mixing and matching different herbs and creating different weapons and repairing them. All of that stuff is here. Cheesy story, mysterious things going on here. Scary as fucking in certain parts that aren't just jump scares. There's definitely a moment in this game that I don't want to relive, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. I hated it, but I loved it. I'm going to give Resident Evil 7 a 9.5 out of 10. It is a must own, a must buy, a must play, a must rent. Whatever you got to do, go and get this game. Love you. Love you. Go get it. Play it. Love you. Bye. See you on the next episode of JKB. Go play this game. Go. Just go. Go.